And the next presentation will be with Dr. Mrs. Shaba Noore, if pronounced well. Maybe I do some mistakes. So, Aysam, please.
Yeah, the name was correct.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. Could you please share your presentation?
Sure. I'll share the screen now.
Perfect. Professor Young, we have a lot of questions. You can reply for each one. We ask you the question. It is very interesting as conference. What time is it now in Ireland?
Right now it's afternoon, 1 o'clock.
It is the same in Tunisia.
Okay. So let's begin. A very good evening and good afternoon to one and all. And I am Shaba Noore, a PhD student in University College Dublin, Ireland. And today I'm going to talk about my previous research that I did in CFTRI back in India. And that work was my dissertation work. And we worked on date seed powder. Actually, we first did the milling of it, and then we moved for the product development, fortifying with buckwheat flour. So the work was supervised with Engineer Mohammad Shakib and Professor Srinivas at CFTRI. So let's begin. The objective of my research, there are two objectives basically. First, the milling of date seed, as it's really hard and difficult to mill it. So our objective was to solve this issue for the industrial people. And the second objective was to develop a product which can be consumed by the normal consumers, the public, and they would love to have it. So yeah, those were the two basic things that we did. So moving forward with the objective, that why do we need to think about date seed? So as we all know that at present, the population is at its acceleration rate. And by 2050, we will have the population of about, as you all know, 9.7 billions, and that's too much. And all about around the Europe, not only in Europe, in the entire world, the source for the protein is being searched in different plants based, like seaweeds, microalgae, then animal based protein. But here is a question: that animal based, are they sustainable? See, for animal based, the proteins which are it's really requiring a lot of resources to put in. Then we get like the amount of plant protein needed to produce 1 lab of animal protein. So it's really not sustainable. But if we look about the plant based, then yeah, it is a different criteria, all total the different scenario. Now when we move that why the date seed, so it requires no additional land. So as we all know that date seed is present inside this dates, and if we talk about the industry, they all just use it as an animal feed, or they can right now it is being used for fortifying powders, specifically in UAE. But like on a whole, if we talk about, so yeah, there is no specifically products available as of like people are liking it. So it can be done, can provide ample number of nutrition, as it is really rich in nutrition with zero amount of production. Again, we don't need to produce extra plants or extra resources. We don't need to use anything, and then it's just simply free of cost that we are getting it. Now talking about the nutrient rich, it harbors numerous of bioactive compounds, including, as our previous researchers mentioned, that it is rich in TPC, total phenolic compounds. Yes, it has a lot of total phenolic compounds. So yeah, it will be very useful for the pharmaceutical and nutraceutical companies when they are looking for the antiviral or antibacterial activities to cure all the diseases. Then moving forward, when we look at the plants, see, when we look for the fruits or vegetable plants, it takes like short duration of crop, but this palm, it lasts for years and years. But now here's the thing, the difficult thing, that for its cultivation, it is difficult to grow because of the climate issues. It is like when the temperature is really really hot, it will have the sweetest fruit available. So that is the tempting thing, that every country can't grow palm oil or palm date palms plantation in their country. And the date seeds what we were talking about is like animal feed. It is used as an animal feed, also as an alternative manure. Then it can also be used as a biofuel or biogas. So the interesting facts is that 15% of the date fruit contains seed, and then it is more protein than the flesh. Oh, so this is really really interesting, because we all consume the flesh and we throw the seeds. It is really the interesting fact that we should look into and try to grasp that protein and use it in a better way, so that we'll have a better products. So then it is also rich in dietary fibers, and then it has a good high oxidant stability. Means if we are using a date seed oil, then it gets rancid very slow. Means it has a longer shelf life, which will be very useful for the industrial purpose industries which use sunflower oil for the frying stuff, the snacks. So yeah, in that case it will be really useful. Then moving down to the animal feed, yes, it is useful as I said. Now talking about the area, that which country is producing the maximum of date palms or date fruits. So here you see the red dots indicates the places where the date palm is really grown there. And if you see that which countries, then Egypt, Iran, Saudi Arabia, these are the country where maximum production has been done, reported by FAO 2019. Now moving forward to the methodology, that what are the steps that we took to carry out the milling of date seed. So here we go. There are two basically milling machines. One is multi-mill, the other is small plate mill. So these are the two that we used simultaneously to get the pure fine flours. And the other, like here you can see the flow chart. We got the date seed. I'll tell you the source of the date seed, very interesting from where we got this. We cleaned it, and then after washing we soaked in water, then did the tempering, then went for the coarse grinding, like I showed you the machine for the multi mill. And then we went for the grinding for in the small plate mill. And you see we did the sieving, and then we got the semolina and the flour. So now this is the company Lion Dates in India. It is very very famous company which produces which is doing the processing of the date seed. They make date sauces, they make syrups, and they also sell dates with removing the seed and just the flesh. So all those seeds that is left is not being used by them. It is completely total waste for them. So I just we all, the entire research team, we were searching for the company who could actually sell us the dates. So they were the ones who actually gave us for free of cost. So it was total zero cost of production that we were actually doing research on. So now let's talk about like how much energy was actually required from that machine to actually do the pulverizing or milling of the date seed. How much, because date seed is really really hard. So we also calculated how much energy will be required, and based on that energy how much cost will be required per hour and per kg to make it into a fine powder. So in the ahead results you will see that how much was the cost for 1 hour for 1 kg, based on the Indian power factor and the Indian per unit rupees. So moving forward, and also after milling we went forward to make the products out of the flour that we got from the milling. So to know that how is it like consumers will they accept eating the date seed flour fortified with buckwheat or not. Just to know, we also did the sensory. So you'll see ahead, this is the control that you can see in the picture. And the flow chart is telling us that how we prepared. We actually prepared 4 different products. Starting with is a sweet snacks. It's like a cookie biscuit we call it. So this was the steps that we followed. for after mix, and the ratio, you can see that we didn't took the much of the date seed ratio because it is really rich in protein and dietary fiber. So if we would increase the ratio, this ratio, then the per gram, which is actually in 100 gram per grams of the nutrient factor, would actually increase, would get enhanced. So I mean, we were also focusing that it should not rise up the level of the FCA that is limited for a product to have. So that was also maintained. Then moving forward, we have the steps. You can see the dough was rolled, and you can see in the center we have the leg operated paper press, designed and actually developed in CFTRI in the same department where we worked in grain science technology. So here you see, after getting uh, pressed, the photo where you can see it is all labeled. And then we have the third product, and this was the sweet pudding, also very famously known as halwa in India. So this is the steps that we followed to prepare, I mean the recipe that was our own CFTRI recipe that we used. And then you see we have the fourth product, which has its own recipe again. So all the pictures which you are seeing here is a market sample pictures. The results pictures you will be seeing in the results section. Okay, so let's talk about the results now. Yeah, here you see engineering properties of the date seed. Now, why engineering property was required? It's only because when we are talking, we all are talking about every time about industry. So when we are talking about industry, the milling, when it is going to the pilot scale, then it is very necessary to know its terminal velocity, angle of repose, and also to know angle of friction. Like if you are designing a pilot plant and you want to mill a date seed and to pass it through a tunnel, so if you don't know the angle which at which it will fall or at which it will be sliding down, then it will just get blocked. So these parameters were actually done in order to provide details to the industry people specifically for the line date, so that if they are planning not to throw the byproducts, then they can go for the scale level development and get this data useful there. So yeah, and also the physical dimensions, that is really important when we are designing an equipment. Like I showed you the machine of the milling. So the in the hopper, when the sample is being dropped, so there is a space there. So that space is based on the sample size and the structure. If you don't know the size and the structure of your grain, or the thing that you're going to mill, then you won't be able to decide the flow rate. So it's very important to know the dimension of each and everything that we are milling it. So that's why we carried out this. And now you can see we have the pre-treatment moisture variations. Okay, so this is why we did was we didn't directly jumped into the milling. Before starting the milling, we also did the some pre-trials that which moisture level of the date seed will be better, you know, to get the milling done properly. So initially we were not able to do the processing because it was really hard, and after just washing, it was still not possible to do the milling. Then we stoked it for 2 hours, then did the tempering. So yeah, then that it was really possible after milling it for like 6 to 7 minutes per kg. But we thought that it may increase the temperature, I mean the decrease the sorry, the time, but it wasn't possible. I mean, after soaking it for 4 hours, the time was not reducing, it increased because it was getting stuck and little lumpy because the moisture was increasing. So then you can see the best treatment we selected, and it was 2 hours. So this was followed by and the multi-mill. First thing we did by multi-mill with the speed 5 minutes per kg. So when this was done, then we followed with plate mill and 1 pass and 2 pass. Why 1 pass and 2 pass? Okay, so for 1 pass we did for semolina, which was like passing through 500 micron mesh, and for pass 2, so we did for like 250 micron mesh for very fine powders if you want to make cookies, cupcakes, or cakes. So for that purpose, semolina is just for preparing sweet pudding, stuff like that. Okay, so now we also like I said before, that we did the energy calculation. So here you see we calculated, so the power that was drawn from the machine for milling 1 kg of sample in that particular time. So it took 6 minutes in total to mill 1 kg of buckwheat, sorry, date seed.
We have 2 minutes again.
Yeah, okay. So
Thank
I'll
you.
just, yeah. So this is the power, and then when we calculated the cost, you see 2.64 rupees, and you convert it in euros, so it is point very less. Then we also did the approximate analysis for the date seed, and here you see it was actually similar to the results which is already cited in literature, so that was not very a new thing. But then we have results for approximate for our product that we prepared. So here you see the protein content is really high. So yeah, that was really good, because without adding to the cost, we were able to increase the protein content in our products. That was good even for the people who are low income people. Even in India, in anywhere in the world, they can afford to have this kind of products with high nutrition value. Then you see texture quality also we did. So the values are compared with the control, and you see it is more or less similar, because the quality and also the method that industry is using to prepare the biscuits and the cookies, we actually followed the way they do it. So yeah, you can see even in the next slide, you'll see the graph for that. So this is the color. We also match the color difference for each of the samples. Like date seed is little brown in color, and normally we have the flowers which are creamish in color, like wheat flour or buckwheat flour. They are not that brown. So yeah, that's why we did that. So here you see the sensory of our product, and here you go. This is the biscuit that we prepared at CFTRI. And then we have salty snack, and we have this. So you see the appearance, the aroma, the overall acceptability, everything looks familiar and okay, that consumers are actually accepting the quality of the product that we are having. So this is the salty snack that we prepared. Then you see halwa, and you see here, see the color. You can see the graph in the color. For the control, you can see the value is low, and for R is little more, so because of the date which contains that. And for masala vada, it was not very preferable. I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. Okay, I'll continue. So this was not really preferable, because masala wala, we added a lot of salt in it, and the results were not very favorable, but it can be improved by the recipe. So this was the masala vada that we prepared. Okay,
So
the conclusion.
I would like to eat.
Yeah, so the conclusion is that we were able to do the milling of date seed with a good nutritional content. Then the energy and the time used for the milling of date seed were really less. So in less period of time, we could mill more with minimum power. Okay, and also you see the results which we got, like the proximate analysis and everything. So it was really similar to the results cited, but the products are not found to be in the literature. The products which we prepared, it's still the research is needed, and more of the analysis need to be done, so we can refine the level of protein and also the peptides that are present in the date seed. So then we can go ahead with the sensory also accepted. And the takeaway box for the industry is the costing thing, that they would love to start up the pilot plant processing and get the products done, so that they can help themselves also by the waste that they have, and also the public, which they can earn the income from. So this is the reference. Thank you. Yeah, here are the two people with whom I worked on this project. Professor Srinivas A, scientist, head of the department, CFTRI, and engineer Muhammad Shakib, technical officer, who was my co-guide in the project, but most of I have learned everything for him. So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, the organizers, and everybody for listening me and tolerating me so far. Thank you so much.